The B-2 Spirit bomber is a ship that no missile can destroy, no matter how hard they try. It might look as big as a football field, but on the enemy's radar, it appears as tiny as a fly. No matter how complex the radar network is, tricking it is a piece of cake for the B-2 Spirit bomber. Built at a cost of X billion, it's the most expensive aircraft ever made. Compared to other jets, it's not only silent but also capable of evading heat-seeking and infrared-guided missiles. It can easily deceive you. A ship so powerful it could change the whole world map if it wanted to. But the real question is, why doesn't a 52-meter wide ship show up on radars? What kind of science is behind this that America has been hiding for the past 37 years? Welcome back to Low Farwa TV's videos. The story behind building this B-2 bomber is one that once embarrassed America on a global scale. On May 1, 1960, a Lockheed U-2 aircraft takes off from Peshawar Air Base in Pakistan on a secret CIA mission. He was going to spy on the Soviet Union. This was during the Cold War when the US and the Soviet Union were trying to outdo each other with their technology. The US was proud that its U-2 Lockheed spy plane could fly at 0 feet, and at that high altitude, no one could mess with it. The US believed that no Soviet missile could reach that height, but as soon as the plane entered Soviet territory, their radar immediately detected it. At first, they sent several fighter jets and many more. Missiles were launched, but honestly, hitting something at such a high altitude was beyond their capability. Then the Soviet military locked their 75 Dvina missile onto the plane and fired. The US knew about this missile too, but they thought the Soviet 75 couldn't reach that high. What happened next was beyond even America's wildest imagination. The 75 locked onto the U-2 at 0 feet and hit it with incredible precision. The plane went down over a town called Yekaterinburg, and the pilot ejected himself. Got it. At first, the US said it was just a NASA weather research plane. But when the Soviet Union showed the captured pilot and the surveillance equipment from the U-2 to the world, the US got seriously embarrassed globally. This incident gave both countries a solid lesson. After that, Russia, meaning the Soviet Union, started working on their air defense, and the US began developing technology that could literally become invisible to radar. Back then, the US had BT-52 bombers, but after this event, it became clear that before even entering Russian territory, it was going to be shot down, meaning even if America wanted to, it couldn't use its nuclear weapons against Russia. And by 1976, the USSR had developed surface-to-air missiles capable of taking down aircraft from as far as 100 kilometers away, including the S-300. At that time, the USSR's air defense had become so strong that an American Air Force general says sending a B-52 bomber into the Soviet Union was like throwing a rock at a beehive. This was the time when, in 1978, America introduced the Advanced Technology Bomber, or ATB. The program was launched with the goal of creating a bomber plane that could enter Soviet Union territory, drop bombs right under their radars, and slip away unnoticed. The B-2 bomber met all these requirements. Its first flight was in 1989, but the world only saw it in 1997. The biggest feature of the B-2 is its ability to avoid radar detection. Every corner of this aircraft is designed in such a way that when radar signals hit it, they don't bounce back to the radar. In other words, those signals, the direction changes. That's why its design only has wings, no large fuselage or tail. The vertical tail fin on regular aircraft is super easy to pick up on radar. The radar systems and air defense are all connected in a huge network, sending signals everywhere in the sky so no spot goes undetected. These signals usually bounce off the plane's body and come straight back to the radar, making the plane's presence clear. Especially, the tail fin is impossible to hide, because from the side, it acts like a mirror for radars. But the B-2 Spirit bomber's body is designed so that any radar signal hitting it won't bounce back in the same direction. That's why it doesn't even have a tail. Its zigzag design deflects signals completely in the opposite direction. The success of the B-2 bomber isn't just because of its design, but also due to a special coating that absorbs 100% of radar signals. The US has developed a secret coating whose details are they're basically hidden from the world. Because of this special coating, the B-2 bomber becomes 100% invisible to radar. Its radar cross-section is unbelievably tiny, just 0.0001 square meters. Detecting it on radar is like trying to spot a fly in the sky. To put it in perspective, on radar, a B-52 bomber looks as big as a two-bedroom apartment, an FF-15 like a small room, a JF-17 like a single bed, and a Rafale like a big pillow. So even though the B-2 bomber is 10 times bigger than all of these, on radar it only shows up as big as a fly. In the world of aviation security, this technology is called stealth, and it was first developed with the B-2 bomber. The B-2 Spirit bomber isn't just good at avoiding enemy radar, it also has a low heat signature that can fool infrared and heat-seeking missiles. Usually, air defense systems have infrared surveillance that detects the heat coming from a jet's engines and confirms the target, locking missiles onto that heat signature. But in the B-2 bomber, the engines are hidden inside the body. After combustion, the heat from the jet engines is directly. It doesn't just vent outside. Instead, it mixes with the cold outside air first. Because of this, the B-2 bomber leaves almost no heat signature behind, making it the aircraft with the lowest heat signature in the world. It's like this. If an F-16 jet can be detected by an infrared surveillance system from 100 kilometers away, the B-2 bomber won't be detected until it's within just 10 kilometers. But it rarely even flies that low to ever show up on infrared radar. Surprisingly, the B-2 bomber flies at around 0 meters or more. It can fly at 500 feet. Flying at that height not only helps it avoid infrared radar, but since the atmosphere is thinner up there, the plane experiences less drag and gets better fuel efficiency. Because of this, it can travel much farther. With a full tank, the B-2 bomber can easily cover a distance of 11 kilometers. Now, you might think that its radar and infrared silence system is what makes it so special. But no, the B-2 bomber is a true stealth bomber. It's made by its ECM, or electronic countermeasures. The B-2 is equipped with high-tech ECM systems. First, they figure out the enemy radar's frequency. Then, they send fake signals on that same frequency. This makes the radar show the B-2 in the wrong location or even in 20 different spots at once, while it's actually in just one place. This system records the radar's signal, tweaks it, and sends it back. The radar thinks the signal is real, but it's actually fake. The coolest thing is that the ECM only sends false signals to the radar that detected it. This way, the enemy thinks maybe the radar is just glitching or has some noise. If it sent false signals to all radars, the enemy might get suspicious. The B-2 bomber's body is mostly made of carbon graphite composite material. It's built in pieces and then assembled perfectly, just like how a Swiss watchmaker fits every part with precision. Now, about its payload, it can surprisingly carry up to 18 kilograms of explosives. It can carry about 15 vehicles worth of load. Inside its belly, it can hold 80 JDAMs, which are GPS-guided bombs. It also carries 16 B-3 nuclear bombs and 16 AGM-158 JASSM missiles, which are stealth cruise missiles. These bombs fit inside the B-2's internal bay, and the doors close to keep the stealth intact during flight. When it comes to range, it can fly from the US to Russia and back, and with in-flight refueling, the B-2 bomber can reach anywhere in the world. During the Afghanistan war, the B-2 bomber took off from Missouri Air Force Base in the USA. It covered a distance of 500 kilometers to carry out bombings in Afghanistan, and then returned without landing. During the whole mission, it only needed one mid-air refueling. The B-2 flew continuously for 45 hours straight and wasn't detected on any radar. Besides that, it was also used in 1,999 during Operation Allied Force for bombings in Serbia. In 2003, it took part in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and in 2011, it was involved in Operation Odyssey Dawn over Libya. Bombing missions. The B-2 Spirit bomber can fly in any weather and under any conditions. Even if GPS satellites go down, it uses backup systems and can navigate by looking at the stars. The high-tech sonar cameras on it make the B-2 bomber the world's biggest obstacle avoidance plane. It identifies the terrain on its own and flies accordingly. Now, since it has a huge wing and doesn't have a tail, it's cheaper than a bomber. All these planes are only with the US, and so far the US has no plans to sell this technology. Plus, it drinks fuel so fast that in just 1 hour, it burns 50 worth of fuel. Meanwhile, a normal commercial jet uses about 500 worth of fuel per hour. The maintenance of a B-2 bomber is also very different from regular planes. After every flight, the entire plane gets a soft wash, and then the secret stealth coating is reapplied. Every corner of the body is thoroughly checked for even the tiniest hole or dent, because if this thing gets even a mosquito-sized dent on its body, it could lose its ability to stay stealthy. Hope you all give this Lofarwa TV video lots of likes and shares. Thanks so much for all your love and comments. See you in the next awesome video.